Well, there is no doubt the local hospitality industry has been greatly impacted by this coronavirus.
So, well, Omicron is spreading quickly and cases are rising locally and nationally yet again. And that's why we're joined now by Anthony Anton right there. He is the CEO of the Washington Hospitality Association. So, Anthony, thank you so much for being here with us. You know, we've seen a number of restaurants in our area that have been had to close temporarily due to COVID infections on their staff. So what are you actually seeing across the industry here in Washington State right now?
Well, I think we're all experiencing in our communities this outbreak. So whether it's airlines, whether it's box stores or manufacturers, and your local restaurants, Omicron is spreading fast and it's impacting all of us. And as we've learned to adjust, sometimes that means we just need to close doors for your safety.
So on that note, what kind of guidance are you kind of giving restaurants who are now once again shouldering, it seems like, the biggest heavy burden, the impacts of this Omicron variant?
I think, one, we need to get through this. And in spite of all the pressures, we need to follow safe behavior. So if you're in a spot where anyone's feeling sick or has got a runny nose, stay home right now. Because the sooner we can get through this, the better. And so that's one. The other thing I'm telling everyone is Omicron is different than what we experienced with Delta. And those cloth masks, which were branded and we tried to make them look nice, were great for prior versions, but they're not as effective with Omicron. So I'm encouraging the operators and those who can to use these surgical masks or the N95s or K94s or whatever the disposable ones are that are proving to be more effective on Omicron. And the good news is the governor's office is set to release a lot of those masks out to small business and communities soon, which will help us defray that cost.
Well, that is good news. So it looks like they are, with Omicron, that there is some sense that if you do get it and you're vaccinated, that it's a milder form of sickness. And now there's some talk that maybe they're going to lower the amount of quarantine time that somebody tests positive, but is at the same time shows very few symptoms. So will that help with you getting your workforce back in sooner, that they don't have to stay off work as long because of that longer quarantine time?
I think the CDC announcement on the lowering from 10 to 5 days was helpful, and I think that's good. I think the other thing is, relatively speaking, Omicron is new and it's rewriting a lot of the rules. And so I think we're all going to have to be flexible and not treat this as COVID per se, but a whole new thing. And the rules that applied and made sense and were tried and true through the original version and then Delta may be different here. So we're going to have to be patient and learn as we go, and this new information is coming to us each week as the more we come on board. But it's certainly true that the curve of the people who are getting it and the curve of people who are ending up in the hospital is a lot different than what we saw with Delta, and that's good news. The bad news is a lot of people are getting it, and it's a very high number. So even though the hospital curve is lower, it's still a lot of people who are in the overall number, and a lot of people are ending up in the hospitals, which is putting a strain on the system.
Anthony, you've talked a lot about what restaurants have done to try to adapt, to try to still stay open and provide that service. What can customers try to do just to help out in this scenario?
Well, I really appreciate that. And Spokane has been wonderful. I've been singing Spokane's praises across the state, from what the county and the city have done to people that have stepped up and done in their own community. I think it's really made a difference. I think continuing those things to the degree that you're able and willing, and getting that extra meal out, showing grace. If 2 or 3 people didn't show up to work today and the meal's going a little slower, we're still trying to get you that great food and the great service. So know that it's a little slower, but because we've made good, healthy choices to get your meal and be protected.
Yeah, we've talked about that, about we just need to be flexible as customers, knowing that most likely they're short-staffed and we're just happy whoever is there is there.
Yes.
And so we will be flexible and we'll be good customers. Anthony Anton from the Hospitality Association, we thank you for joining us again. Thank you so much.